Australia, Argentina, Canada, France, which includes French Guiana, Germany, Holland, New Zealand, and Thailand, among other nations, we are celebrating a milestone of 50 years of freedom, progress, and prosperity. After 50 years in America, in the land of the free and the home of the brave, the land of opportunity, and the land that allows all of us the pursuit of the American dream, of the 300,000 plus Hmong, we have attained individuals who are Hollywood actors and actresses, artists and seniors, successful private businessmen and businesswomen, or entrepreneurs, professional athletes, whether it be from gymnastics to golf, motocross, and beyond, elected officials at city, county, and federal levels, and even the non-elected city, county, state, and U.S. federal government employees, U.S. Armed Forces servicemen and servicewomen, law enforcement officials, paramedics, the first responders, law attorneys and judges, scientists and researchers, technological innovators, digital information techs, manufacturers, automakers, pilots, technicians, mechanics, teachers and educators, nurses, medical doctors and physicians. The list goes on and on. But most importantly, over 5 decades, no matter where we went and gone in life, we remain hardworking and family-oriented without forgetting our historical roots. To some, the Hmong story may sound very similar to like any other group of immigrants who came to America. And in doing so in 1975, the United States authorities were deeply concerned about the Hmong and their difficulties assimilating into U.S. society. Due to that fact, we didn't know, due to the fact that we didn't know how to read or write language. The answer from the U.S. authorities to the Hmong exodus from Laos in 1975 was almost a resounding no to immigrating to the United States of America. But this is where the Hmong immigrant story uniquely stands out different from other immigrant stories at that time. A story lodged and deeply rooted in a military alliance between the United States of America and the Hmong Lao SGU soldiers who we honor here today, where Colonel Belder, on behalf of the CIA, sought out my father, General Wayne Kao, to forge a strong friendship, partnership, and alliance between the Hmong and the United States of America, and thus the Kingdom of Laos and the United States of America, on the small mountainside village of Kavieng near my father's home in Nong Khet, Laos. The U.S. requests for assistance were made to Wayne Kao and the highland people comprising of not just the Hmong, but the Hmong, Mian, Haidam, and other ethnic groups. But it was Wayne Kao the U.S. sought out to meet, and it was Wayne Kao whom the Americans would ask for assistance. It was the United States, it was Wayne Kao and the United States who agreed to lead an army in the name of the United States of America and her interests to fight against the communist enemy forces during the U.S. Secret War. As part of the greater Vietnam War. In this war, 35,000 special guerrilla units would pay the ultimate sacrifice. Name, honor, and valor given by the United States, died infiltrating and destroying communist supply forces, protecting and defending U.S. military covert sites like Pupat radar site, and helped rescue down U.S. pilots who flew over North Vietnamese airspace and parachuted into Laos. Some were successful, others were not successful, and remain missing in action today. But it is this ironclad alliance forged 65 years ago, an alliance fought for 15 years, which we all know from 1961 to 1975, struck through a simple handshake of words and condition that the Hmong became Americans before even setting foot on U.S. soil 15 years later. This agreement based on the love of freedom and democracy, like-minded principles and values, ideals and beliefs is self-evident that my father, General Wayne Kao, trusted and respected by the Hmong and ethnic groups, as well as highly trusted and respected by the Lao. The Americans would also lead his people turning the page of history from being impoverished and uneducated for the better. His people would have full access to education and health care for all for the first time in history, not just for the rich and the noble, but for all. His people would rise to have leadership ranks in government and military for all 18 clans. His people would learn how to fly fixed-wing aircraft for learning how to drive vehicles. Even when geopolitical policies shifted out of our favor, the U.S. withdrew and Hmong felt abandoned. The story of our Hmong people, led by General Wayne Howe and the Americans for 50 years, was the key to cementing the U.S. welcome the Hmong to their new homeland, their new communities of friends and neighbors, their new country, as well as in other nations that I mentioned earlier. So today I stand as my father's youngest son to say a few words to bridge the past and the future, to bridge the young and the old, to bridge those ideals and beliefs, those values and those principles, the bridge of love and freedom and the pursuit of happiness. I say we have a very promising future. And speaking of promising, permit me to speak in biblical context. When Moses led his people to escape enslavement and persecution in Egypt to the promised land, thus reaching their new homeland and freedom, and mirroring that story, my father led his people from persecution and uncertainty and loss to the promised land here in America to become what we know today. I have no doubt and say with high confidence that as we celebrate 50 years this year, the next 50 years will be even brighter, even more prosperous, with even more progress, more triumphant for generations to come. So as long as we remember our ancestral roots and our history, we the Hmong and our Lao friends will always have a future in this world. Our leader, General Wayne Howe, and ancestors smile upon us today, and they will give us all their blessings for the new year. In closing, may God bless our heroic SGU veterans. May God bless you all, and may God continue to bless our United States of America. I have one more surprise today for His Royal Highness Prince Hmong. I will bring this gift down, but I want to show everybody in this room my gift that I have.